So today I will go through and showcase all of the skills that we could access during Division 2 playthrough we had at Massive. You will recognize a few from Division 1, but there's a lot of skills that are completely new or the old ones have new mods. So I'm gonna start off with a new skill called Hive. The Hive is a group of advanced micro drones that deliver special effects to their targets. You can either double tap and just place it on the ground, or you can throw the Hive. While most Hive categories are used primarily for defensive measures, there are offensive alternatives to suit all playstyles. So before we go more into that, I just want to mention that they did change how you destroy an active skill. You now need to hold down the button for around 3 seconds, so this way you won't accidentally destroy it, which happened a lot in Division 1. The Hive have a certain amount of micro drones, 50 in this case, which you can see in the UI right here. There is 5 different mods and we got to test 3 of them. I'm gonna start with the Restorer. The Restorer Hive sends out micro repair drones that expend themselves to repair allies' armor. So it works similar to a healing station in Division 1. When you go into the radius, it will shoot a quite slow micro drone at the people in the radius, healing them. Then we have the Stinger mod, the offensive mod for the Hive. It sends out micro drones that attack and distract nearby target, also targeting the weak points. We have seen this skill mod before. It was used at E3 on the trailer and the gameplay, so you should be a bit familiar with this one if you did watch that footage. Then we have the Booster Hive. It delivers a stimulant to nearby allies that increase their movement speed, skill haste and weapon handling. The buff duration was really low, as you can see in the footage, and it didn't seem like it gave a noticeable buff, to be honest. Then we have the fourth one, called Reviver. Sadly, we did not get access to this one, but the Reviver Hive, just as you can hear on the name, can revive allies within a specific radius on the ground. If any of the downed allies are within the range of your Reviver Hive, you can manually order a set of micro drones to revive them. However, you can also press and hold the button to charge up the micro drones. The longer you hold the button, the more health and armor your ally will get when revived. Moving on to the drones. Yes, finally we have drones in the game. When deployed, the drones hover around your shoulder and follow you around. Depending on what drone you equipped, it can stay passively by your side until assigned an order, or it can automatically target your enemies and even friends in some cases. There's 5 different mods and we got to test 2 of them. Starting off with the Defender. The Defender drone attempts to deflect incoming bullets from a microwave emitter mounted beneath the drone. It can tank around 10 bullets and then the drone dies. I think so far this is my favorite skill that I've seen in the game. Seems like it got really big potential, especially with this fast time to kill, and it could be a really good counter for snipers, right? So I really look forward to test this skill more and see it more in action. Then we have the offensive drone called Striker. It tracks targets and attempts to maintain line of sight while continuously firing. It seemed really strong, and in general the drones move around a lot and it can be hard to focus, especially on console. Probably not gonna be as strong on PC, but I can definitely see a lot of people gonna use this on console for that extra damage. And yeah, they seem really good actually. The other 3 mods we couldn't test, but back when they released a blog post about the skills, they gave us this information. The Tactician mod. This utility drone flies to the maximum elevation at the location of your choice and spots all hostiles it can see, effectively highlighting their location. While deployed, it gives you and your party continuous information about the position of the enemies within your area. This is a specialist skill for the sharpshooter specialization. So basically a drone with a pulse, right? Which sounds really cool actually. Especially talking about that it's gonna elevate and probably give you so much vision. Especially since it's for the sharpshooter specialization, which is the sniper class, right? Then we have Bombardier. This drone can perform a bombing run across a long area. The drone flies to an area designated by the players and drop a barrage of explosive as it strays from one end of the zone to the other. I haven't seen this one in action, but I'm pretty sure I know how it's gonna look like, so I could showcase you some footage here from Heroes of New Earth, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna look something like this, right? If you guys are not familiar with that. And the last one, the Fixer. This defensive drone repairs armor over time. You can choose whatever you want it to fly next to you and passively repair your armor, or choose a friendly target whose armor needs repairing, including other damaged skills. So yeah, that's the information we have on the drones, and I think a lot of them sounds really cool. And as I said before, the Defender one seems really nice, but even looking at like Fixer or Tactician one, they seem really nice as well. So I can't wait to see the Tactician one in action with the pulse. But yeah, moving on to another familiar skills, the Seeker Mine, which I think every Division player knows about. This time they come with more features and abilities. These mines use sensors that allow them to target hostiles or friendlies, as needed to perform various effects. When you activate the Seeker mine, it will follow you around until you press the button again to target something. So they are not AI controlled anymore and you have to aim them yourself, which I think is great. I don't like when game does everything for you, and since you have to aim it yourself, I think they should be a bit stronger and powerful compared to Division 1 when they were AI controlled, because now, yeah, you have to aim it yourself, right? Which, yeah, super happy with that. So let's talk about the mods. There are 4 different mods and we got to test 3 of them. Starting with Airburst. The Airburst mine is quite similar to the Division 1, launching an explosive burst into the air and put the targets on fire in its radius. Nothing too much to talk about here, just really similar to the one in Division 1, so let's move on. Then we have the Explosive Seeker mine, just similar to Division 1 as well, I assume. It's one mine that does a lot of damage, probably staggers. I didn't get to try it, so yeah. Then we have a completely new Seeker mine mod called Mender, which you get from the Survivalist specialization. It follows allies and repairing their armor, so basically a Seeker mine that heals, which is pretty cool actually to see that Seeker mine now can heal. And you can target, of course, your teammate as well with this mine, so a pretty cool mine. Then we have the last mod called Cluster, which we did have in Division 1 as well. We did not get access to this one, but looking at the blog post again, this is the information that we currently have. The cluster contains a number of smaller charges in one package, each capable of propelling itself. When deployed, each of the smaller mines picks a target and sets off towards them. However, these smaller mines are easier to avoid as they do not have a room for advanced tracking equipment and cannot adjust their destination if their target moves. So that's a pretty cool change. It's gonna be easier to dodge the cluster mines, which I'm pretty happy with, right? Like, AI control skills shouldn't be too strong. I'm all for manually aiming them. That's great, because having skills that you have to manually control, it makes that you can make them more powerful, in my opinion. If the AI does everything for it, then they have to be weaker, right? So yeah, I think that's really good. But yeah, that's all for the Seeker mines. I'm actually really happy with those changes, seeing that a lot of them are manually controlled and not AI control, and looking at the new Mender one that heals seems pretty cool as well. But let's move on to the shield. Hated and loved in Division 1 for sure, and now is the first time that we got information on them on Division 2. So as far as we know right now, there's 2 different mods. Starting with the shield called Bulwark. Basically the same shield we had in Division 1. You can only use a pistol and it provides near full body coverage. Nothing special to say about it really. Like, it protects you a lot and you can only use a pistol, right? Most likely for tank builds in the future, I assume, just like it was in Division 1. But then we have this new shield called the Crusader shield. It's a lighter shield that allows use of all primary weapons while equipped, except LMGs and sniper. Since the shield is smaller, it exposes the agent legs and also a little bit of the head. I played this shield a bit in PvP and it felt super strong, but I guess that have a lot to do with us playing with controllers and a lot of us actually being potatoes, right? I can definitely see this one being strong on console and even on PC. The mobility on this shield was actually really good compared to the Bulwark shield, but you do expose your leg and a bit of your head, right? So if you have decent aim, you should be able to deal with it. And I also think that the smaller shield, it have less HP, but I'm not sure about that. Then we have by far the most used skill in Division 1, making its way back to Division 2. I think 99% of the time I always use the pulse. But I'm actually not too happy seeing it in Division 2. Even though I love my pulse, I think the game would play way better without this free wall hack, which is basically ace, right? Because the pulse just reveals your position, and if there's no counter pulse, then you will always know where people are at, right? And I think Division would just play better without having a skill like this, right? It definitely makes a lot of moments less tense just because you can always see where people are at, right? But anyway, this time they did add some new fresh mods, so let's go through it. We got to test 3 mods, starting off with the normal pulse we used in Division 1 called Scanner. Just like Division 1, but you don't get any damage / crit right now. That may change when you get gear pieces and such in the future. The Scanner pulsing the surrounding area for hostiles and visually highlights them on you, so you can see them through objects, just like Division 1. Then we have a new one called Jammer Pulse. It pulses outwards, overloading and disabling hostile electronics. So basically a EMP pulse. This one actually seems pretty cool, and I know a lot of people have been asking for this, so it's pretty cool seeing it making it to the game. The radius though seems to be super low, so I think it's gonna be really hard to get some effective use of it. So I would like to see that actually getting increased, but that probably needs some more testing, but right now it feels like it needs to be bigger. The way it works is that you hold your skill button and it expands to a maximum radius. When you let the button go, the EMP activates in the radius, so you basically have to rush into them and then just let go of the button and it's gonna EMP. Then we have another new pulse mod called Remote. It's a deployable pulse that you toss like a grenade, and where it lands it will stay and pulse. You can't take it up and move it around, right? And it will do a few pulses over time in that location. So basically like the scanner one, just that you can toss it and choose a location. Seems like a pretty cool pulse, and I can definitely see it be useful, especially in scenarios where you're holding or standing at the same spot, and when multiple pulses would be more useful than one, which would be the case in a lot of times, I think. But that's the current pulse skills in Division 2. Then we have another skill coming back, the turret. The turret tracks and shoots designated targets. The turret can be placed next to you with a quick press of the skill button, or thrown a short distance with a long press. Something I did notice is that the turret this time around seems to be really tanky from a base. So there's 3 different mods for the turrets, and we got to test 3 of them. Starting with the assault turret, the same as Division 1, just a normal turret shooting bullets. Not much to say really, but worth noting is that this turret is AI controlled. Then we have the incinerator turret. The flame turret this time is manually controlled. You activate it and it will shoot forward in a radius looking like a cone. Not exactly sure if you can manually control it while you activated it, or if it's just gonna shoot in that direction that you put it down to. Since I didn't get to test it, I assume you can't manually control it after it's activated. Anyway, I think it's a good change. Less AI control skills, the better, right? And this will be quite easy to counter. Also worth noting is when you pick up the fire turret in your hand, you can't move at all. Not sure why that's a thing with the fire turret though. Maybe that was just a bug. Then we have the artillery turret, which is only available to the demolition specialization. It's manually controlled, so you will have to aim yourself, and it will shoot a mortar at the spot you targeted. You can also change the targeted location and shoot multiple mortars, so it's only not one mortar that you can use. I actually really like this turret mod. I think it's really cool. I just hope that it will actually be useful, and I'm not too sure about that. But I'm pretty sure this one staggers and do decent damage, so it's probably gonna be useful. At least for PvE. Not sure about PvP though. Then we have the sniper turret mod, which wasn't available in our build, but they talked about it on the blog post, and this is what they said. This long-range semi-automatic turret targets the same enemy you are engaging. While there is a slight delay on target acquisition, the sniper can adjust its aim to match your own aim on the target. So basically you ADS and you press the skill button and the turret will shoot there as well. Personally, I think the sniper turret sounds really interesting and maybe really good if you have good aim. So maybe combining this with an actual sniper would be really nice. So I can't wait to try that out and see how it actually works. Then we have another new skill called Chem launcher, which we sadly did not get to try, but they did talk about it in the dev blog, and they also showed some footage of it from E3. So I will still share what we know so far about it. It's a grenade launcher inspired weapon. The Chem launcher fires various ampules of chemicals in an arc that disperse into a cloud on impact and linger to cause unique and devastating effects. The Chem launcher comes with 4 different modes. The Firestarter. Firestarter canister sends out flammable near invisible gas. These gas clouds can be ignited with any spark. Bullet impacts, enemy firing their weapons inside the cloud, explosions, or even enemies running into them while on fire. If you combine multiple clouds over a large area, you can create devastating chain reactions. And this one sounds so cool to me. Imagine 4 people having Firestarter and you're setting up so many gas clouds, and then you just lure the enemies in, either players or NPC, and then you just shoot with your gun and put everything on fire. Actually really excited to try that one, especially in PvE, but even PvP, just setting a trap, right? Then we have the second skill called Riot Foam. This skill fires a canister with riot controlled foam that disperses on impact. This is the same riot foam as you have seen the True Sun use in the E3 demo. The foam is sticky, heavy, and it expands rapidly. Anyone affected by the foam is stuck in place for a period of time, but the hardened foam can be destroyed to break them free. And also, if you do get affected by this, you can press a button and actually get out of it. So it's not gonna be the new shock turret in Division 2, which I'm pretty happy about, I gotta say. Then we have the Oxidizer. The Oxidizer fires a canister that emits a cloud of corrosive chemicals. The chemical cloud lingers for a long time and efficiently eats away at enemy armor or any enemy mechanical items. So I guess that one will work against some of the skills that the NPC have. Not really sure how this will work, but I guess we will see. Then we have the last mod called Reinforcer. The Reinforcer fires a projectile that detonates and disperses an armor repairing cloud. If this powder hits you or your teammate, it restores an amount of your armor. Powder that sticks on the ground grants armor restoration over time. You have the ability to heal your friends very fast or even yourself over time. So this sounds basically like the self-aid heal. Hopefully that will be the new healer skill, right? Then we have a completely new one which they haven't talked about at all, and it's called Firefly. I assume that that's some type of drone-like equipment that flies in the air like a firefly. I honestly don't know, and since we could not use the skill or have any information about it, there's not too much to say. But I thought it was worth mentioning anyway. Like maybe you guys actually know what it is and you could comment that below in the comment section because I want to know. I did some googling and I didn't really find anything. But yeah, that's all for the skills right now. I know a lot of these skills have been in the devlog, but I just wanted to make a video showcasing all of the skills with some actual gameplay and talk about them, right? And what I think. I actually really like how most of the skills have a mod that makes it either offensive or defensive. And then all of the skills following that theme, right? So for example, even the Seeker Mine could be used as a defensive tool and healing your teammates, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see how all of these skills and mods will be used upon release with endgame builds that are specialized for the skills, right? Hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you in tomorrow's video.